Hey, that means we're recording. I don't know. We just started talking. John Brown is with us, Comedy Mushroom Cult podcast. I do want to start with one question, John Brown. What is with your president kissing small children on the forehead with no mask on the
Dude,
Twitter machine?
Wait, what?
I mean, I think I didn't see that, but
Let me
I
pull it up. I told you there's no clips on this show, but I'll
yeah,
pull it up because I retweeted it, and it is the most insane thing that I've seen in the middle of a pandemic. This man just goes to he goes to like a kindergarten and
Who?
like just John Brown's president.
Is that Joe Biden? What?
I guess yeah.
That's what I'm so confused by. It's like,
He wasn't my first choice.
I was like, city council president? Like, what president?
All right. City president.
He just bought a house. He could be really involved
Yeah.
in local politics.
Dude, watch this wild video. All right. So in the middle of a pandemic,
I love that we're starting the podcast with something that nobody that listens to it can see. That's a real old move on our part.
this
Also, I
man
like that
takes
the-
his mask off and starts kissing random children.
Also, I love that the clip you shared is from like John. Is it in like slow motion on your screen?
Yeah. It looks.
It's all choppy.
No, he just moves very slow. He's an
It looks
old
like
man.
it's like from a security camera, but then this kid's looking at the camera, so it's obviously a camera that somebody's taking.
Oh, Republicans are going to shit their pants when they see this. Did they find out yet?
I don't know.
He
I
is
shared it
triple
yesterday.
vaccinated. You know, I mean, he's got the booster. So,
But the children are vaccinated, John Brown. The children. Think of the children.
Anything that's going to hurt those kids would have already killed Joe Biden.
Exactly.
Dude's made of paper.
I don't even think he's real. Like, I know that was like a conspiracy theory for a while that Joe Biden wasn't really the president and was like they had him hidden somewhere. Like, that was a fun conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think Joe Biden is even a real person. I don't think they were going far enough. I think
A lot
that
of people think he's still not the president. So
he's made out of paper mache. He's one of Jeff Dunham's new puppets. Well, he's Walter, like the Jeff Dunham puppet Walter, and he looks exactly like him.
just not as racist.
I hate that we just talked about him now because I made that joke and I stand by the joke, but we just got put on an FBI watch list. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it happens.
100%.
I voted for him. He wasn't my first choice. He just wasn't my last. So that's
Dude, I wanted anybody that's like not 70.
yeah,
So bad.
yeah.
That's
Although
my favorite part about. Yeah, that's also true. This is like we're not gonna make this a political podcast, but I just thought it would be funny to start that way because Brown Petri dish.
Wait, we're
that's
not?
like half of it. No, it's not.
I gotta throw my
John
notes
Brown
up.
John Brown
Notes.
of Brown Petri dish, where like the first half is talking about comedy, and then the second half is John Brown filleting the Democratic Party. I figured.
Come on. I'm not fair at all. I'm not gonna lie. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to say I'm unbiased. I'm not.
Yeah, you're fair and balanced the same way Fox News is.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So last night I did watch Formula to get prepared as a joke.
Which season did you watch? Did you watch the most recent season, or did you start at season 1?
The first season, and I did it as a joke. I was just gonna watch one episode and tell you guys I watched all of them, and then I ended up watching like as many as I could.
It's a
good show.
You did exactly what I did when I started watching that show, and you were like, I was just gonna watch one episode.
Yeah.
You're like, I was just gonna do crack once. I was just gonna try it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I got indoctrinated into it. Is Joe's like, you got to watch the show. And then I was like, all right, fine. I'm like real stoned, like whatever. We'll watch, like literally we'll watch whatever. And that's how high I am right now. And then like 4 hours later, it's like 2 a.m. and we're just watching Formula. And it's like, it was halfway through the season. Like I didn't even know anything, any backlog, anything. And then now just I wake up at fucking 6:30 on Sundays to watch car racing.
My thoughts were like that the Haas team when they were all excited about getting 6th and 7th. I'm like, what fucking losers are the of the Americans in this
Dude,
thing. Like,
if you look at their budget, like if you look at the budget compared to Mercedes, though, they're just happy to be there.
yeah, it's insane to me that
Like-
they're allowed to have like that vast of a difference in the budgets.
Well, there's a spending cap now. Like there's a cap to what you can spend to try to like even it out, but also like the American team just doesn't touch that. And it's like that's the craziest part about this sport or whatever. I still don't think auto racing is really a sport, but
Really,
like,
because they're all in great shape.
I mean, they're all in great shape, but like so are like Instagram models. Like that's not a sport.
Yeah, but they're not winning.
I mean, they're winning life. But what can I finish the point? It's that they go into an entire season knowing that they're fighting for third, fourth, or fifth place. Like at no point in their mind does like a Haas think that they're going to win that season. They're just trying not to be 19th and 20th in every race. And that's just absolutely wild.
It is insane to me. I've never seen a sport. I would say it's more of a sport than NASCAR. Like at least they turn in two different directions, you know?
Yeah.
NASCAR has a road race like once. I don't watch NASCAR. I even tried to watch IndyCar racing because I was like, well, I do Formula One now. So like, let's see if I like other stuff. And like Romain Grosjean, however you say his name, the guy who caught on fire in season 2 or whatever. Spoilers. He does IndyCar racing because that's just where like failed Formula O racers go. And I tried to watch it and I was like, this is the most boring shit of my life. Like they're just driving in circles. And the only time anybody ever passes is like the worst Formula One race is the best IndyCar race. Like that's all it is.
So when I was growing up, you guys know this, right? But my favorite movies were like the Herbie movies about a Volkswagen Beetle that races. And
Are
so
you gonna do the whole bit right now?
Yeah, I've heard this.
I'm gonna tell you something. I just remember this. When I was a kid, for like the first like 7 years of my life, my dream job was NASCAR driver.
Was to be Lindsay Lohan?
No, I had like a Jeff Gordon tracksuit that I would wear.
Yo.
Oh my god.
And then when I was in like 5th grade, my dad rented a NASCAR race because he's like, yeah, my boy loves NASCAR. And I watched like 3 laps and I was like, this is terrible. And then never talked about NASCAR again.
Yeah, it is, man. It's the most
so bad
sport. And if you call it a sport, it's the most boring sport to watch. Like there's no, I don't know. Even the Formula One, like I could watch the races, but it's still boring. They're still going for like a crazy number of laps that they're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's only 50.
Lasts like
yeah, it's only an hour and a half. It's like
Yeah,
it's the last race was like the most, and that's what's cool about it is like you get into the storyline, you get into like the mechanics of everything, and then like the pit stops are like it's 3 seconds.
Insane.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds, and you're like, this is the most dramatic, like this is the most drama-filled shit. Like all of the drama happens in those races in lap 1, during like pit stops, and then like the last 10 laps, and it's all within an hour and a half. And then once you like start like getting addicted to it, like the qualifying is the most electric part of the entire thing because there's like, all right, let's see how fast they can just drive, and then who's going slow and going to slow somebody down. Like it's just like little shit like that. It's not even the race itself that's fun. It's like the stuff around it.
The one guy that had like the car that they took 10 seconds in the pit, and he was like, I want to quit my team. This is terrible. Like, it was 10 seconds. Like he was so pissed. I'm like, it's I guess 7 seconds makes a huge difference in a race like that, but it's just funny to me. It's like it seemed extremely quick still. I don't
yeah, it's just like if you ordered food and they were like, hey, it's gonna be 10 seconds, you'd be like, oh, great. But then you watch Formula One and it's a 10-second pit stop and you're like, it's a fucking travesty.
Well, yeah, Red Bull's doing sub 2-second stops. Like they'll do like the fastest one they've done this season is 1.8 seconds. Like, and that's to take all the wheels off, put them back on, and now they have to like flip a switch manually to like release the whole thing. And you're just like in less than 2 seconds. That's just absolutely insane.
I wonder, do they have like you can't tell because it goes so fast, but do they have like drills that just take all 4 bolts out at the same time? Because I don't understand how they.
I think it's
just one lug.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. That makes more sense.
What's even more insane is when the pit stop's like 3 seconds and they change the entire front wing.
Yeah. And because that's where they also lift the car up too.
I'm like,
they lift the car from the front wing. So when they're replacing the front wing, like they have to jack it up underneath it. And it's like, all right, this is going to be a 5-second stop. And that's really going to hurt them. And you're like 5 seconds to like change half of the car.
To literally build a new car.
Yeah. It's insane.
I think the Max guy reminds me of Carter Doherty in comedy.
Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
he's a low key serial killer.
Guy he's the young guy that like just pisses everybody off because he's trying to get ahead. That's Carter.
I don't know if Carter's pissing people. No, Carter's not like aggressive.
Everybody loves Carter. I'm just fucking.
Yeah,
dude. They're just both 19, so that's the only.
It is insane that like you age out of this sport at like 28 for the most part.
Well, Daniel Ricciardo's what? He's like my age. He's like 31, 32, and they're like, this guy's old as fuck. And you're like, all right, I mean, let's calm down a little bit. He's not a running back in the NFL. Like, he's just driving. Like, let's calm down a little bit.
Yeah, well, I always thought Formula One and Indy racing were the same thing. Like, that's how dumb I was with the shit. And
what's Indy racing?
I think Indy racing is just like the American version of Formula One, right?
It's kind of like NASCAR, but with cars that are closer to Formula One cars.
Yeah. So I thought Andretti was Formula One, but he was IndyCar apparently. Right?
Are we talking Mario?
Yeah, because he was in it for like forever.
Right.
Like I think
that's where like they go after Formula One is they go to IndyCar. Like that's just what they do is like they go to IndyCars because it's like less. It's just. I mean, they're fast cars, but you're going around the same track as NASCAR. And it's just like a different, and like the pit stops are weirder. Like when they go in there, like it's just, I tried to watch a race once and I was like, this is the most discombobulated bullshit I've ever seen. Like, why can't everything just be Formula One? Like that they've got it knocked out. Like we figured it out. Just do that.
Yeah. Is this going to be the whole podcast? We're going to talk about.
I'm sorry, I just choked. That's what that noise was.
It can
Well, I got something I want to tell you about real quick.
Yeah.
So I was talking to this guy outside the show yesterday, and he was like, "Where are you from?" Because he thought I was from out of town. I was like, "I'm from Parma," and he was like, "Ugh." He's like, "I'm from Minneapolis," and he's like, "I'm from Minneapolis, and I moved to Cleveland like 10 years ago, and I love Cleveland." I was like, "Oh, one of my good buddies lives out there," and he was like, "Where at?" And I was like, "Wisconsin," and he was like. Like no, man.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Raj was in Chicago last Sunday, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, how about we like look me up next time or tell me you're gonna be in Chicago?" And he's like, "I thought you were in Wisconsin." I was like, "Yeah, I'm in Milwaukee, which is an hour and a half away from Chicago." And he's like, "Honestly, you could have told me that Wisconsin was close to Wyoming, and I would have believed you." And I was like, well, first of all, if you're going to be in my country, at least know something about it. Second of all,
this is now a Republican podcast.
No, but just because, I mean, Raj wants to bitch about not being a citizen yet, but doesn't even know how close Chicago is to Milwaukee. But it was like,
dude, neither do I.
I mean, to be fair, the only reason I know that is because of that 70s show. Like that's. They used to go to Chicago in the show. That's the
fun. That 70s show point. The writers from Toledo, so the town that they grow up in, Wisconsin, in Point Place. Yeah, Point Place, Wisconsin isn't it a real place, but it is a real place in Toledo. So they just moved that town over to Wisconsin. So like the only thing that's not real about that like whole show is the town that they're in Wisconsin. They could have picked any other town.
Bullshit.
Yeah, well, that doesn't sound like a Wisconsin town. Wisconsin towns have like weird names, right?
I heard the best Wisconsin joke. I was on a show last Friday or Saturday, I forget what day it was, and this guy moved from Illinois, and he said that like every town in Wisconsin is either named after like a Native American Indian or a black girl with like the best ass, because there's like a town. And he's like, there's a town called Oconomowoc, which is obviously like a Native American name. But then there's also a town called Waukesha. And I fucking lost my mind because like, because I live in Waukesha is what it's really called. But he's like, yeah, it's called Waukesha. Like, you can't tell me that bitch isn't bad. And I was like, God damn it, that's a funny joke.
I like that you're like, You're like, this is the funniest joke I ever heard. And when you told it, you had like barely any joy in your face. You were just like, hey, listen to this joke. And you were like, well, Keisha. You
I'm not
didn't
gonna
laugh. You
sell
didn't
somebody else's joke. Like I'm not gonna be like, all right, so catch this. When I was growing up, I was really into the Herbie movies, and
that's not how I start the joke. Whatever, man. Don't even pay attention.
I was disappointed the Herbie joke didn't come out last night.
I haven't done the Herbie joke in 3 months. The last time I did the Herbie joke, I had a panic attack that day, real bad. I was talking to Ray about this, and now I'm afraid to do that bit.
You think you're gonna have one on stage before you go into it?
No, I had it off stage, but I don't know. I had one, and then I was like nervy afterwards, and the bit didn't go great. So now I'm like, I don't want to do that bit.
I thought it was great last night. I'm sitting there in my seat at Hilarities, and I keep looking back, and I keep seeing Joe just pacing back and forth.
I got my steps in, dude.
I do that shit too. Like especially like at Hilarities when when that whole back section, it like there's not somebody there on like an early show or something. I will fucking like in that back area where like the comedians sit or when they let people in there, I will just like I'll leave the green room. I'll just stand out there and then like try to have nobody talk to me. And then like that the first night or whatever when Joe came and I'm like standing there and he like walks up and I'm like I'm just a fucking head case. Like I can't. And I almost like it when somebody like a Joe or like another comic who's going to be on the show comes up because I know they're doing the same thing. Like they're prepping. So like it's not just gonna be like, hey, it's good to see you. Like it's gonna just be like they're talking to get you out of your head, and like they're trying to do the same thing. Like it's for a purpose, not when it's like
I don't like that,
dude.
Yeah, I knew not to talk to you last night before.
Yeah, I like dealing with it on my own.
Yeah, I was like, I'll talk to him after he comes down.
Yeah.
But
I would rather somebody. We've done this before, where I'd rather have somebody talk to me right before I go up to like get my mind off of it. But like right after I get off stage, if somebody's like, "Hey, that was a really good set," hey, I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm having an adrenaline dump right now. Like I just was like in a car. Like I almost feel like it's a car crash the whole time, where you're like having to react and like thinking of the next thing, or like even when you're in the zone. Once you're back down from it, you're like, hey, I'm just coming back from like the best 10 minutes of my life. Can you get your stupid face out of my face? Like,
Ray gets real nervous before shows, and to relax him, you give him a little kiss right in the nape of his neck right here, and he goes nuts. He loves that shit.
See, normally I do go up to people right afterwards and talk to them, but last night I didn't do that because I really wanted to see Brendan Ayer. And
dude, he was so good last night.
He's so funny.
Both show. That guy's a killer, dude. He murdered he featured for Adam, and then he did the Late Show, and he just destroyed.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Who's featuring the Late Shows?
Huh?
Who's featuring the Late Shows?
So it was. Oh, you might know him because he's from Chicago. Last night it was Sparks Tabor.
Yeah, I Spark. It's Spark Tabor. Not Sparks, but. Yeah. So we'll start with that. But yeah, I opened for him his first headlining weekend up at Skyline. He's a good dude.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he was real nice. And then I think tonight it's Flint and Jimmy co-featuring.
Okay.
So
cool. Yeah, that's Hilarities though. I think if like you're not like if people aren't like a comedy nerd, they don't get it. But it is weird to have your local club be one of the top 5 clubs in the country. So when you get your opportunity there, it is like super fucking like I almost threw up the first time I went up at Jokes on You, and I've been getting
I have thrown up there. It was for the side room.
That's funny. Drew Miller's crowd work show. I've been getting consistently better at crowd work, where I'm consistently doing well, and I'm supposed to do Jokes on You at the end of November. And I'm going to be just as nervous, even though I know I've been doing well with crowd work.
Do they do that in the main room, or do they do that in the cabaret?
Unless there's a show in the main room, then they do it in the cabaret. Yeah, like when Kevin Nealon was here, he did a Sunday early show, so they did the Jokes on You in the cabaret room.
I like the cat. Like I am obviously this is like a weird thing to say, like because now that me and Joe have like done weekends there, and we're kind of like a top tier comedy podcast here. But I
We
I
posted
almost,
at our home club, and you're like, "We made it, and we have."
well, first of
We
all,
have
my home
like
club is the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and he won't feature me yet, but I also haven't called him in a while. So like thanks to my home club on that one. But but like getting hilarities, I miss doing the cabaret. Like that is the
yeah.
room that I miss doing the most because it's just like you're still in hilarities, it's still super cool, but like it's that smaller, like everything's more tight in and like people are more part of the show, like, and especially like during like a Polk
Mm.
show or something like that where like the crowd is like a part of the show kind of, like I miss that part of the show where like the main room is obviously great because it's the main room at hilarities and nobody's going to complain about it, but you're also like, oh, this is like a real, like this is basically a theater just set up in like a comedy club way.
Yeah, I wish they
Yeah.
would do like a weekly showcase in the cabaret room or something. That'd be cool. I don't know.
That'd be real nice if there was like even monthly, just like
Yeah.
a show where they'd put up local people. That'd be real tight.
Yeah, it did. The time they did it, that late night show, it did well. I mean, there was no headliner, and it was still like almost a sold out crowd at 11 o'clock at night.
Was that the one where Brad Ernst like dropped in though, and then did like
Yeah.
40 minutes at the end of the show?
Yeah.
He was supposed to close out with like 20, and he did like 40 minutes. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's before like comedy was like back then. Like everything's in fucking full swing now. Like you don't have to like, I don't know, like they're not hurting to get people in the door, or give people stage time, or like it almost seems like clubs are starting to tighten back up again, where before they're like, oh, you're willing to come up and like perform and you kind of know what you're doing, all right, cool. But now like before, like I was getting, if I emailed Skyline, I was getting a weekend like every 2-3 months, like I was in the rotation, where this last time I was like, hey, like it's coming up on like that second or third month or whatever, like if you need anybody to host or feature or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we're already booked through the rest of the year and we're starting to get into like February, and it's like people are starting to come back out of the woodwork, so it's like starting to tighten back up a little bit.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I don't know. Hilarities to me should be a difficult club to get into. I mean, it's a lot of comics rated as one of the top 5 clubs, like I said earlier, and it is, and like it takes like, you know, hanging out there plus people that are in the know, they're seeing you do your shit, and it's tough to get into, but it should be. It's just funny to me because like I've gotten to the point where like Sam recognizes me and talks to me whenever I come in, but the door guy, the guy that takes the tickets at the door, his name's Scott, the tall dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've met him
fast.
probably 30 times, and he's still like, last night I come in and I'm like, hey, I'm by myself tonight. Can I just go sit in the back? And he's like, do you have a ticket? And I'm like, I'm a comic. I'm just here to see Joe. And he's like, oh yeah. I'll seat you real quick. I'm like, all right.
He's,
like,
he's the nicest
dude. It's weird. It's
Well,
like,
it's weird, but like my favorite well, my favorite one is like you'll go up there and like you'll walk up and you're like, hey, can I like get a validation for my parking so it's like less money or whatever? And like the ticket people, every once in a while they'll like forget like what you look like or something, and they'll be like, yeah, we don't do that. And I want to be like, well, I'm on the show and I know for sure that you do that because I've done it 1,000 times. So could you just give me the fucking sticker that costs you no money, please? Thank you.
Wow. Look at Ray's just impeccable manners.
Yeah. And
well, I don't say it that
Akron,
way.
baby.
Yeah, bragging about his parking validation status.
No, but you go up there.
We're talking about what we like about the club,
parking.
and you're like, you know what I hate? The parking situation. Fucking bullshit.
I mean, it is bad though. I've had times where I've like was gonna go to a show at Hilarities and just drove around looking for parking for 20 minutes when all the parking lots are like $30 for a Cavs game. I'm like, I'm just not gonna go. I'm just left. Like I did the one night I went to go see Joe's show in Tremont because I was like, I can't find anywhere to park. Fuck this.
Yeah, it's a fucking night. There wasn't even like a game, or is there a game tonight at all? Well, no, the baseball's over, right?
Yeah,
basketball's starting up.
Preseason. Yeah.
Who's gone?
I think there's a preseason game on Sunday. I don't think there's one tonight.
Who's going
They'll
to
start
Cavs,
charging extra for that. Like that's the thing that drives me nuts is they'll charge extra for that fucking lot. Like people are going to the restaurants on 4th and then walking to the like nobody's going to those goddamn games because the Cavs are trash. Don't make parking $45 anymore.
Here's
like,
the thing,
keep
man,
it
though.
20 or whatever.
If they kept it 20, everybody would just valet their car because they could have it valeted for 20 or park it themselves for 45.
I've found if I'm with somebody else, I'll park further down on Prospect because there's always spots further down on Prospect, but I'm not walking by myself for 20 minutes at night in downtown Cleveland. I'm not a
Why not? We've only almost gotten shot once. That's literally the only time.
I wouldn't want to walk by myself at night in any big city like that.
When was the last time you saw a gun?
Are you a murder podcast girl? Like, is that what you are? Are you afraid?
I was actually robbed at gunpoint when I was 18 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago in a different town.
And the man with the gun, Ben Roethlisberger. Believe it. Believe it.
It was a crackhead who was happy that I had my last $20 in my hand when he came up to me.
Do you hear that, podcast listeners? Ben Roethlisberger does crack. Connect the dots.
I mean, sometimes he looks like it.
Dude, I love Pittsburgh. Like I've never had a bad experience in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good city. The people suck though. I mean, the comics are cool, but the what's going on, Joe?
Is no one else getting static, or is it just me?
No, your headphones are probably just plugged in weird or something.
I thought somebody was getting feedback. What's going on with you guys?
Oh man, I don't even know what I was talking about.
It's as good as it's gonna get. Apparently, 1 second.
This is beautiful.
This is just a good time to mention the fact that we are on Golden Ox Studios. Why is this happening? Okay, it's good now.
Not too inside baseball, but it's real funny. I don't want to talk money on this podcast, but like we make a little bit of money on this podcast monthly, not like a whole bunch, but like definitely not enough for like our like dues or whatever that we have for being on Golden Ox. And I like texted Jeremy and I was like, hey man, just to be open with you, this is exactly how much we make every month for this. So like, do you want me just to like send you $10 and we'll be good for the year? And he's like, I think we'll worry about it when you guys actually start making money. I was like, all right, sick. Like I just go get that out of the way.
I talked to him last night and he literally told me that you did that. And I was like, are we your top earning podcast? And he was like, no. And I was like, check again. And he was like, I know you're not.
I could probably tell you which one is, but I'm not going to name another podcast other than.
Hey, man, who gives a fuck?
Oh yeah, it's probably Shit Brains.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's a great podcast. Yeah. This is my first time. This is my first time though being on a podcast that I listen to every week, so it's cool. I'm probably not going to listen to this episode though because I'm here.
So I listen to every single one of them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I do like every other for some reason. It's not like it just happens.
I might not listen all the way through, but like I want to make so my biggest thing, just because like I'm an audio nerd and like a podcast weirdo, like I want to listen to it on Spotify to see how much worse it sounds compared to like the main file because they compress it. So like I go through and like I make sure that it's like compressed before it gets sent and still sounds good. But like when you listen to it on Spotify, like I want to hear what most people listen to on it to still make sure it sounds decent. So I'll listen to like at least half.
Yeah, I'll listen to. That's why I listen to every other because I want to see how I sound. Because sometimes I'll say the word like. I'll say the word like too much, and I'll be like, "Wow, you really just peppered that in a gross amount."
Well, it's almost like listening to game tape. Like I don't want to be. Yeah. I want to listen to it, especially. I mean, this one won't be as bad, but when we recorded the 3 in that one day and then like released them. And then we're about to record another one. I don't want to talk about the same shit we talked about a month ago, but it was just last week for anybody who's keeping like track of it. So you don't want to, I don't want to overlap or whatever too.
Yeah. Me and Harrison get real pissed when you guys repeat shit on the podcast.
Excuse me. We have more than just. We have 2 patrons on the Patreon, so this is a perfect spot to say, "Hey, join the Patreon."
I don't believe for a second that Harrison can get angry. So don't come at me with that.
No,
Yo, I was just like, me and Joe talked about this. We can drag you in on this, John, because you are also a comedian. Whenever Ray DeVito lets you open for him.
Okay. I'm co-featuring for Brendan A. on New Year's Eve. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh, you don't have 20 minutes of your own. You have to do 12. But so I'm just fucking with you.
His face. Ray's just being Ray and being a dick. And you said that, and John, you just took like in the pirate movies when you grab a knife and just like rip down the sail.
Yeah,
just ruin it.
No, this is cool. I haven't gotten this Ray since I first started and we weren't friends. That's.
He meditated this morning too. This is him. This is good, Ray. This is.
I didn't meditate yet. I just did yoga. But I had a lot of Mexican food last night, so I'm like, I've got like Latino heat coursing through me. That's what this is.
Yoga is just meditation for your muscles.
Yeah, dude, I needed it. But I forget the point. Oh, we were just talking about like that weird like that in between period when you don't really have like any big shows coming up and like you just kind of start going a little crazy. Like I've been doing that this week, so it's just like you start peeping other people's like progress and all that shit, and you start going a little nuts, and then you like I'll look at my calendar and I'll be like, oh, I've actually got some cool shit coming up, but like it still doesn't, like it's just a very weird head game of keeping it there where like you have like Joe's doing hilarities this week. And like, even though I just did it 6 months ago, you're like, well, I haven't, like, I've done Skyline since then. Like, I've done all these other shows, but like now places are telling me that they're booked up until February. And I haven't even gotten a peep since then from some of these places that I've like crushed at. And it's like hard to keep that, like that. Okay, well, this is all still worth it. And then somebody sends you like it's just like a very weird, like feeling of that. Or like you're saying, like doing the co-feature thing for New Year's, and like I'll call Pete and he'll be like, well, when's the next time you're coming in town? I'll get you some stage time then. And it's like, Pete, I know who works your club. I know who features your club. I can do 20-25 minutes of better material than they can. Like, just pay me to do comedy. And it's just very hard not to like get into your own brain about that.
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't feature you whenever you come back home. That's stupid. I mean,
well, I'm also not just coming home. Like, I'm not just like coming to hang out. Like, give me a weekend. Right. Like, I'll come.
No, you're not.
I mean, I'll come. You know that I'll come home for you. Like, it's not.
That's cool, man. I just. How much longer we got on this podcast? Because I don't want to be here anymore.
Dude, you already got me in trouble with my girlfriend because I had to call and wake you up, and she's like, I don't know the last time you've ever woken me up that night.
No, it's weird though too. Like,
dude, seriously.
Yeah, dude, she tweeted about it. I'll send it to you so you can see it. But yeah, go ahead, John. So
like you were talking about with that, like last month I had no booked shows,
dude,
and then this month I had 2 last weekend, 2 next weekend, and 2 the last weekend, but like nothing this week, and it's just like a shit with like, what am I doing with my life this week? It's weird. Once you start booking shows, you want to do them every weekend, and then when you don't have any, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah, that's how I'm like October's gonna be sweet. The rest of October, and then as soon as November hits, I have nothing.
Yeah, I have the Funny Farm the 20th of November, and that's it for the whole month.
Yeah. So did you email him? Is that how you got into contact with him?
I texted him on Facebook, and then he had me call him. I sent
him. I had his email. I sent him an email. I just haven't. I should probably just message Dave on Facebook.
Yeah,
I'll send you his phone number. I mean, it's not not a secret. It's just the club's phone number. It goes to his cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of like auditioning for a feature spot there. Like he was gonna have me co-feature on the 13th, and then the guy canceled. So he has like the Youngstown Comedy Syndicate coming that night. So he was like, I'll have you host with Mike Head, and you can do like 10 to 12 minutes. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I've done that room a couple. I was supposed to. The first time I was supposed to like officially like host, COVID happened like the week prior. So that sucks.
Yeah. Why do I have your name on November 21st, Joe. It says Joe Briggs. That's all it says.
Really?
Oh, wait, that's probably the Browns game you're going to with me.
Oh, yeah.
Lions game.
What game is that?
The Lions game, I think.
Oh, yeah, because fuck the Lions. I just want to like look at all. Did you guys watch Home Improvement growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime anything bad happens to the Lions, I just want to look at the Lions fans and go like, oh, the entire game. Because we were texting about it. I was like, I don't know how to put that over text, but I can't wait.
I always wonder if Tim Allen was ever really at Funny Stop or at Hilarities back in the day when it was Hilarities.
Yeah, there's a signed.
Every time somebody asks Pete about Tim Allen, Pete just talks about how Steve Harvey started at the club or whatever. It's like,
dude, I was just talking to somebody about I was at the show last week because like the guy who booked it like came and was like giving everybody like their money for performing or whatever. And he like it's always like that weird like drug dealer handshake every time you get paid to do comedy. And I was trying to explain how every time Pete pays you, he'll give you like the money and he'll be like, so that's like if there's nobody around, he'll just give you the money and he'll be like, all right, we're good, right? But if there's like other people around, he'll make sure to give you the money and be like, that's fair, right? And I'll be like, yeah, Pete, it's exactly what we agreed upon that you're gonna pay me like every other time. And he'd be like, yeah, but I treat you fair, right? And it's like, yeah, dude, like just stop doing this.
Hey, I don't want to sound like a dick, but your Pete impersonation, not good.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna try to do Lebanese on the podcast.
Try it. Now I'm so curious. Now I'm real curious. You gotta try it. Come on.
I'm not doing it because here's the thing. I survived an open mic set in front of like a young women's professional group on Wednesday. So if that didn't bring me down, a Lebanese impression is not going to bring me down.
We're not. You can't be. You're not gonna get like canceled for this. I don't. What are you worried about?
I'm not doing it.
Just do it. Come on, man.
That sounds like Pete on the microphone.
Yeah, my favorite Funny Stop moment in recent history.
I want you to go home. I want you to fix that, and I want you to have it on my desk in the morning.
Okay, we'll circle back to this on Monday. But when I was back for the Rubber City competition, and Pete like wasn't doing the announcements on the night that I was like about to leave, they had that like old white guy who does it every once in a while come in and do it. And he like did the wrong announcements. He did the early show announcements for the late show announcements. And I walked up there and I was like, and I tried to play it off. I was like, I am not Amanda Averill. But I wanted to be like, usually you can't understand the announcements, so it wouldn't matter. But the one night that like they have somebody you can understand, they get it wrong. That's what I want to say.
Mine was the first night that Pete went to one of his son's football games, and Harrison was running the show, and and he couldn't figure out how to get the stage lights on, and then he couldn't figure out how to get the mic from the back to project over the speakers. So he just stood to the side of the booth and yelled the announcements. It was so fucking funny.
Dude, I'm trying to convince. Oh, that's what I was about to start talking about. I'm trying to convince Harrison to move to Milwaukee, just to follow me around and film me doing sets.
I think he's gonna do it.
Don't steal my boy.
Well, yeah, but like, dude, straight up, I was like, you know what? I'm freaking out. I need to be doing more stuff online. Like, I need to get videos out. I'm just terrible at videoing myself. So I need somebody to, like what Jay Hunter was talking about last week after the podcast. He's like, you just need to get somebody to follow you around and film you all the time and then just post them for you. So I was like, who's better to do that than Harrison, and who will just pack up his entire life and move to Milwaukee because I told him. And I was just like, hey, man, what kind of phone do I have?
Yeah.
A cell phone?
Yeah.
No, Samsung S10. Like, it's old, but
because I was gonna say, like, some of these new phones, dude, you don't need to buy it. You don't need anyone to film you. Like, these cameras are nuts.
Yeah, mine's pretty good.
Right. So like mine's not terrible. It's just I like do my notes on my phone. I do like my audio recording on my phone. I do like everything like through my phone. I time myself through my phone. So I just need to like come up with a new system where if I just set my phone up on a tripod to get video, like I'm still not just like floundering up there on timing or whatever. Like it's just it's a completely habit-based thing that I need to get out of.
Yeah, nobody steal my idea, but I've noticed there's a lot of these videos on Reels that have like 1 million views, and they're like nothing. It's just because the thumbnail is a hot chick, so people just click on it. So I'm thinking about making stand-up videos and putting a picture of a hot chick in the beginning of it, and then people just click on it, and then they're forced to watch my stand-up.
So I'm not gonna steal that.
I thought it was a genius idea.
I mean, it's not a bad idea to like it's not a bad one to trick the algorithm, but it's also like, all right, like they're gonna click on it and then be really mad, and then it's just gonna be like just the way that like the algorithm works. Now they're just gonna have a bunch of like hot chicks on their algorithm, and it's gonna like knock you out of it, or like it'll go further on. Like I saw this dude that he like does animations for like Mad Magazine, which one I didn't know still existed, and two like I didn't know
the physical magazine still exists.
I don't know. I think he does it like online or something too, but like he does animations for him, and he's like an okay stand-up. Like you can tell he's newer at stand-up, but he goes and does like that CG's mic all the time. And his thing, instead of doing full audio or full video, he'll just do like a set picture of himself with the audio and then like transcribe it. So like the word still goes. So he still gets like credit for it being a video and it pops up all the time. But I don't know if that plays as well as like an actual video.
Huh. Yeah, I think I just need to start putting more stuff on Reels because I don't put any stand-up up online. And I probably should put some like jokes that I'm not going to use all the time, maybe like current event jokes or something.
That's what I try to do. Like I like to pepper in crowd work in the set, so that was my plan for Reels, was to do crowd work. And I've just had a real shit time like for the last 2 months with either I get a good video and terrible audio or vice versa. And I think I finally figured it out like this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if Drew has any clips of me from this last crowd work show because I had a really good set both times.
Well, but here's like the biggest thing is that like it's a fake game. Like you're doing it for like the views online and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna say
Squid Game.
Told me, huh?
It's a Squid Game.
I haven't watched it yet. Is that good?
Okay, good, because it was a bad reference and you didn't even get the reference. So let's move on.
Well, like it's a fixed game though, because it's like and I mean it's like anything else on Instagram. But like the one guy I was talking to about it, he's been doing some videos for like some bigger people, and like they'll have a joke that like they know is a good joke for like online that they don't use a lot, and then they'll just like throw crowd reaction from like an actual killer like in-person bit, but like they'll take the crowd reaction and put it behind a joke that they're like, well I'm not going to tell this one a lot. So like this was like a cool like this was in the moment, but then they just take the audio of like laughter and claps from like an actual good joke and put it behind it. And that's what like a lot of those do is like they'll just be like, all right, this is one that was like in the moment, so it's not burning any real material, but it also didn't do that well live. We're like
that feels that feels like the dirtiest lie in the world to me.
But it's like
that grosses me out.
But it makes sense, and it makes perfect sense. Like, but that's everything about Instagram though, or like when you're doing like. But they do it on like specials, like they'll pipe in crowd noise from different spots and specials too, if it's not going well. So it's like, all right, at what point is it video production, and at what point is it like, at what point is it fake just for Instagram to get like the likes and shares? Where so like part of me is like, all right, maybe I'm not like the best Instagram comedian, but if you get me in that same room with that same crowd, we're going to do the exact same on like with actual material. Like it's one of those, like, you just have to ignore like the online part of it a little bit, but that's like, how it spreads now.
That's so messed up to me. I can't, it's a real Squid Game. Am I right?
Neither one of us have seen that show. Well,
I'm not making good references, so you're not missing anything.
I feel like that's one of those shows that I feel like it's being forced on me. Like I'm gonna have to watch it, I guess.
It's a real.
Everybody's talking about it.
Will you shut the fuck up? Don't do it.
Game.
I saw you. You saw you winding up for it. It's a real catch-22.
I'm gonna. Hey man, that's life. Sometimes it's a real Squid Game.
But no, I get it's one of those, and they were talking about it on one of the podcasts that I listened that they were talking about, like, all right, are people watching it because everybody's saying like everybody's watching it, or is it really that good? And it's almost like Tiger King to me. Like,
are you talking about Reels? You mean?
No, Squid Game. Like what John said, where it's like it's the #1 show Netflix ever released, so it's got to be decent. Like it didn't just come about that way.
It was very good. I did watch it.
It's a phenomenon.
Yeah, it was very good.
I mean, once there's like memes made about it and shit, like I feel like you have to watch it, or you're gonna be like out of conversation. You know, I don't know. It's when you're like with a group of people and you're talking about shit, they're gonna bring it up, and you're gonna be like, I don't know. You're gonna try to you're either gonna not be in the conversation, or you're gonna pretend like you watched it, like I was gonna do with Formula 1, and and not fun either way. Yeah, but yeah, I don't. Most things that get that many views on Netflix are pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I started watching. What's that other show that was real big? Oh shit, I'm gonna sneeze. Nope. That show You.
Yeah, my girlfriend's watching it right now.
Yeah, I just started it last night. I watched like 3 episodes and then I couldn't sleep.
I'm not like I've watched it and it just like I'm not like a big I don't like, and I'm gonna say this in the same breath of like there's a Hulu show called Only Murders in the Building. Like I like fell for that fucking show. Like it's like just like a good like random suspense filled show, but I'm not like super big into like kidnapping or like stalking weird shows where you're just like, I don't know, I'm just not into those kind of shows.
Hey, this is not a bit, but do you have Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
This is it was like one of my favorite shows in high school, and they just put it on Amazon Prime. This is to everybody out there. Watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. It's on Amazon. It's only 6 episodes, and they're like, you can watch the whole thing in like an afternoon. It's like a BBC show, but it's like all those BBC guys. It was like the first one with like Richard Ayoade, Noel Fielding, Matt Berry.
What's it about?
It's about a guy who's a horror writer. It's the guy is playing a horror writer who the horror writer created a TV show. So he's playing a character who's playing a character. And so you're watching the TV show called Dark Place, and it's about a fake hospital. And then like they'll cut back to the horror writer version of him and like interview him during the show.
So remember when we had Brett Thomas do reviews of like his takeout food?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the exact same thing, but it seemed like you were trying to do Brett Thomas talking about a TV show. And I want to let you know that it doesn't. Like, I wanted to eat that cheeseburger he was talking about because I could tell that he at least had like an idea of what it was. Like, have you watched the show recently, or was the last time you watched it in high school?
Literally last week.
You could have like to me, it sounded like you were trying to remember what it was about from 20 years ago, the first time you saw it.
It's just hard to explain.
Okay. Sorry.
I really took the wind out of my sails, bud. I was like, I'm gonna crush this PSA, and then you just shit all over it.
I did not. I just did you want to try again with it? I mean, it was Dark Ages or Dark Game. What's that all about?
Garth Marenghi's okay, can I try again?
Yeah.
Okay. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is a British horror parody television series created for the Channel 4 by Richard Ayoade and Matthew Holness. The first broadcast in 2004. The show focuses on fictional horror author Garth Marenghi, played by Matthew Holness, and his publisher Dean Lerner, played by Richard Ayoade.
Wow, that sounds like a television show that I would watch the shit out of.
I think you really pronunciate both R's in the word horror.
Horror?
He's a horror.
How do you say it?
I just say it like horror. I don't know.
That's a woman of the night. That's different.
That's a person who charges money for sex.
They're not both pronounced the same way.
No.
So horror. if I made a spooky movie called Horror, for you to just be horror.
Yeah, like the reason why horror is spelled the way that it is so you hit the R's in the middle harder.
Oh, I thought the reason it was spelled that way is because it's spooky hard to say if you have a speech impediment.
But if I said I'm going to watch a horror movie, you wouldn't think I was going to watch a movie about horrors.
I think you were going to say you were watching Pretty Woman. Like, that's what I
Good movie, though. It stands the test of time. I watched it recently.
Really? I've never seen it all the way through.
Wow. How about you live a little bit? Treat yourself tonight. Get some lasagna. Bring the girl home. Say, hey, sit down on the couch. I got a surprise for you. Put on Pretty Woman.
Ever heard of Richard Gere?
Ever heard of Richard Gere? But whatever you do, don't call her your Pretty Woman, because that implies that she used to be a prostitute.
I mean, she might have. It's 2021. We accept those kind of things. Sex work is real work, you know?
Yeah, thanks for making me feel like a piece of shit.
Well, you know,
a
buddy of mine was saying that one of the girls that he used to date was offering to fly him to a town that she lives in. I'm trying to keep this very vague, so I'm like not talking out of the pocket. But she was going to fly him in to have sex with her on OnlyFans. And I was like, well, good for you, like getting a job. And he's like, I thought you would have thought this is a bad idea. And I was like, it would have been a bad idea if you did it for free. But since you're getting paid, like you're just an independent contractor now. Like we got to, if you do it for free, it's a bad life decision. But if you do it for money, like that's just work in this time.
So she's going to fly into his fictional Hamlet. TBD.
She was going to fly him to her.
Oh.
And I was like, how much money is she making from this?
Where she can buy him a flight and be like, I'm still going to come out net positive after I fly him and pay him.
And split money for it too, because he was going to star in it with her. And I was like, well, this is
going to be in it?
I don't know. That seems risky.
Yeah, it seems is it going to be one of those things where they're on camera and she's like neat and he kind of just pops into frame.
Sounds like a horror movie.
That scares me. I don't think I could do that.
I don't think, like, I know we've talked about this before, but like I just don't think like OnlyFans is a great idea, period. Just because I mean I think it's a fine idea if that's something that you want to do, but like the cost of like entry is so low. Like you can be like, here's $7. Now show me every naked picture you've ever taken of yourself. And I feel like that's just like too, I don't know. There's not like the status.
Well,
it's like pretty much how it works as far as I understand.
And what it's done too is it's like normalized it more. So like on Instagram, there's like all these fake profiles popping up of like female friends that I have. That it'll be like see my exclusive nudes here. And it'll have like in the story of the fake profile, it'll have just like it'll just have like a random nude picture without a face in it. So it's like advertising like that's their nudes. And then like, I don't know. It's I've had to tell like a couple of female friends of mine, like, hey, there's a fake profile on Instagram.
Yeah, I've had that happen to a couple friends. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, fucking, I don't think it's like she posted about it. Fucking, Jazzy P, like that happened to her. Where like there was like a random account that like it like went into my DMs, and I texted her on Twitter separately. I was like, hey man, like this is real. Like this isn't you, right? Because that would just be like a very weird shift in our dynamic.
Yeah.
Like this is like that just like would be very weird. And she's like, oh no, like this has happened before. Thank you for telling me. Like please, like report them. And so it's just like and again, I don't know. But she like also kind of like dipped into that like world for a while too. So it's also like you're kind of. And it's not like a shame thing at all, but once you kind of crack that door open, like you're kind of like out there for people to kind of do that. You know what I mean? Like you're like, all right, cool. It's already out here a little bit. Now all they have to do is snag it and then kind of start reselling it like different.
Yeah.
It's like when you put a meme online and like a big meme account takes it and then makes money off of it. Like you're not watermarking it. So it's just kind of like a weird, like, well, it's out there. You know that somebody's ripping these pictures and probably posting them somewhere else. Like it's
That happened to me in college. I like made a pie chart of something stupid. I don't even remember. It was like a dumb pie chart. And my college, I didn't have Twitter or Instagram yet, and my college roommate posted it, and somebody stole it and like it like went up on a meme website. And then I was like with my girlfriend like a couple weeks later, and I was like, "Oh, I made that," and she was like, "Shut up, you don't even have like social media." And I was like, "No, that was fucking mine." And then we like
now imagine
backtracked it.
that, but like naked pictures of yourself out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That's
Like,
gross.
I don't know anything about OnlyFans. Like how if they have like something that like stops you from like saving pictures from it or something. I imagine they would.
But then like screenshots, right?
True.
Yeah, screenshots exist. Like it's the same. Like that's where it gets like there's nothing wrong with like doing that kind of business, but then it's also like on that back. It's almost like dealing drugs and then getting robbed. Like, are you gonna call the cops to report getting robbed when you're dealing drugs? Like you're like
But
in
see,
that
I
weird
disagree
gray area.
because yeah, but dealing drugs is illegal. What
Well,
OnlyFans is technically legal.
But stealing naked pictures of somebody from OnlyFans and then posting them as if it's yourself, I'm pretty sure would be illegal.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's illegal, but how big of a stink do you want to cause over that? Like at that point, like you're like if you're like like if you're like I don't know who, like Pamela Anderson or something, when somebody steals your sex tape and makes millions of dollars off of it, all right, yes, now I'm going to cause a stink about it. But when somebody's making 20, 30 bucks or like no money at all, just posting it, like, are you going to like go out there and just like make a big stink over that? Like, and then just forever, you're the naked picture lawsuit girl. Like, it's just like a very weird game to get into forever.
Yeah, when you're just like a regular chick trying to make a couple extra bucks on OnlyFans, you're probably not going to want to publicize it that somebody stole your OnlyFans material and put it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just a weird. I mean, and again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like if anybody were just to be like, "Oh, this is shit," like no, do it. Like that's fine. Make money. Like we make money saying our stupid words on stage. Like it's literally the same thing, but you're making more money about it. It's just at some point, like it can get squirrely. Yeah. Like if somebody steals, it's basically like if somebody stole one of our jokes, or like you get like you see like a big headliner say something close to yours or something, and you're like, well, now they're making all this money off of it, and then you just kind of look like an ass being like, hey, that's actually mine. That's like, well, who are you gonna believe? Like the guy who's fucking Dave Chappelle, or are you gonna believe just like some doofus on the side of the street?
That's like the one time, like I'm pretty nonviolent, but that's I think the one time I would like deck somebody is if I went up to somebody and I was like, hey man, that's my bit, like can you stop doing that? And they were like, no, it's mine now. I would like probably hit them. Also, it's terrifying that there's no like intellectual property laws that really protect stand-up comedy
until you put it online. Like if it's like in a special or something.
Even then.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, even then somebody could be like, I'm bigger than you, so I don't give a fuck. You know,
but it's like, also like I don't think like in John, I haven't seen, like, I don't mean to leave you out. Like, this is me not being like leaving you out of this to just be like a shithead. But like, I haven't seen you like do a full set in a while. But like, that's the thing. Like, I know like my style is going to be more niche shit. Joe's style, like, it's like that weird niche, awkward shit. Like, nobody's really going to like if somebody were to like, but like, I couldn't, like, I've done this before where somebody came up to me and they're like, you know, I know that you're funny, but like I couldn't name a single one of your bits except for like the Jesus bit. And it's like, that's kind of what you want, is like, you can't steal like what you can't remember. Where I've like talked to people and they're like, this guy stole my like, I found like a sex predator website and it looked like polka dots all over my neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, but I've heard that joke 1,000 different times from 1,000 different people, and it's polka dots, or it's chicken pox, or it looks like something like that's something that's forever. Like it's just in the ether. Where like you just kind of like what you're saying. Like if somebody's stealing one of your bits or like one of my bits, like they are like they're doing it on purpose, and like that's when it's worth it.
If I had a bit that was like, women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them, something stupid like that, and somebody took it, it's like that's like a folk song.
like
Yeah.
my online dating bit that I was doing from the time that I first started doing comedy, and somebody sent me a video like Chris Harvey's doing the same bit as you, and I watched it, and it was pretty similar. It was the same exact concept. It was about like who would his thing is like who would think or who would think I'm catfishing them with my picture or something like that. And that was pretty similar to my joke I was doing. And I was like, that's just a very easy concept to think of. Like that's something that like
There was
it's
a Ray. Do you remember? I don't know, John, if you were coming up to Cleveland yet, but there was that, or like I don't mean like Cleveland. I don't think you were going like far enough west on the highway. Is what I mean. It was like
right.
it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
past Lakewood,
yeah.
but there was a sign on the roadway that said it was like a picture of powdered donuts, and it's like if these contain fentanyl, would you? If there was a chance that these contained fentanyl, would you still eat them? And then it was like, don't do cocaine. And within like a 2 month span, I heard like 4 different people, me included, do it. Bill Squire had the best one, but like there was 4 of us that had a bit that was just like, yeah, I'd still do it. I'd still eat the powdered donuts. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's one of those things where it's too easy. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's why
yeah,
like most of my jokes are like personal stories. So like if anybody stole it, I'd be like, that didn't happen to you. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like I have a couple bits that people could steal that are just like high thoughts that I had, but like most of them are personal stories.
If somebody started talking about Herbie, I'd fucking kill him.
well, and that's kind of like that's the weird game, and that was like I forget who it might have been you, Joe, just like us texting, but like that's why I like it takes me so long to write new jokes is because like I just can't like if I think of something that I'm like, all right, well that's just like in the zeitgeist right now. Like I want something that I can tell for like 4 or 5 years if I need to. Like it like you just want that where it's like timeless, it's still good, it takes a while, but it's also like something that like it's like this niche idea and then trying to make it for everybody, like that's what I like to do, or something that's for everybody and trying to boil it down to like the bare thing, like where I think just a lot of people stop like in that middle ground, and then that's where it's easy to kind of just like snag it because you're like, oh, men and women are different, and it's like yes, but also what's the difference, like I have this bit that it's finally kind of starting to work, like I was trying to talk about like how much like
Finally.
I mean, but it's taken me a year like to
Jesus.
finally like find the way that it works in there. It's like the idea of like moving from Ohio to Wisconsin, of like how much more white it is from Ohio to Wisconsin, where it's like I'm a white dude and it's like going like I live in the suburbs in both spots, but it like that's the difference, is like how much whiter it is in Wisconsin than it is in Ohio, which is another like white place, and I'm like a white dude talking about it, and it's like hard to take that and like boil that to like where people won't feel weird about it, but nobody's gonna like nobody else, people can be like, oh, Wisconsin's so white, like Wisconsin's so white isn't a new bit, but it's also like how am I going to make that mine, where if I see somebody else go Wisconsin's so white, like I can go up right after them and tell that same joke and nobody would ever think that it's stolen, because it's like one of those like it's yes, it's up here, everybody understands that like Wisconsin is like predominantly white and almost stereotypically white, but how do you like take it down to like that niche part? And I think that's where a lot of people like who just stop in the middle and they're like, all right, well this is good enough to put into like my 20 or 30, like that's why it takes me so long to write it, is like I'll fucking do like I just put this thing in my like 15-20 or whatever because it like leads into something else, like that's not like, and I was like this is the joke, where that's just like the setup for the actual joke. And it's just like that's what takes me so long, is like I don't want to do like, yeah, I can go up there and talk on stage for 45 or an hour, but I don't want to do that. Like I want it to be like 20-30 of like something, not just like anything.
Yeah, I love having a joke though that I can't figure out. It's my favorite part about writing. It's like a challenge to try to get like
Oh, I fucking hate it.
I love
It's a
it.
puzzle
Like,
you'll never solve. That's the best part about stand-up.
Like right now,
yeah.
Like right now, I've been working on a bit about the whole like billionaires going to space thing and how I don't trust the companies that are doing it. And I have like a personal story that's funny about why I don't trust Amazon, and a personal story about why I don't trust SpaceX. But then like the Virgin part of the joke is just like Virgin, they don't know what they're doing. You know, like I can't like I have to think of something for the third company. It's just, but that's the puzzle that I have to figure out.
I didn't even know Virgin was going to space. I don't know if that helps. I don't know how many people are even aware that Virgin's like we too will.
You didn't see
the
see the SNL Star Trek Billionaires sketch?
No,
I haven't watched SNL in 5 years.
I watch every episode, but it's the Billionaire Space Trek one was, or Star Trek one was really good.
I am like starting to get like, this isn't a bit. I am like starting to get worried that billionaires know something that we don't about global warming, because the fact that they're all trying to go to space at the same time does like skeeve me out a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the only place to go. Like they're just, and it's not even like they're going into space. Like they're just like hitting like the edge. You know what I mean?
They're just like burning an insane amount of fuel to accomplish legitimately nothing.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have more money than most nations. Like that's just what you do.
Yeah. Oh, Elon Musk is like all about like that he's doing this great thing for the world with his clean energy cars, and then he's just like burning all this fuel to fly to space.
What a dumb bitch.
That's a good spot. So we're an hour in. John Brown, what do you have coming up?
Oh, a billionaire dumb bitch, and you're like, yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a good spot. That takes us like it comes full circle. We talked about Joe Biden kissing weird children, and then we end on billionaires being bad.
It's the children are weird. It's the children's fault.
I mean, it's strangers. It's like it's children that he doesn't know.
Yeah, but it's not weird. Joe Biden's the weird one, not the kids.
I mean, I think we're all on the same page, but I think it's funnier to say that the children are weird. Like if you look at it from like a way like Joe Biden's doing the normal thing. Like that's what you do when you meet a bunch of children you don't know, is you take off your mask that's supposed to protect everybody from a pandemic, and then you just take it off and start hugging and kissing other people's children. That's what you do. Like that's normal.
QAnon put those kids there. Okay, you saw what they wanted you to see. That's all I'm.
They shouldn't be there. What I mean, the children at that daycare, what are they even doing there? You know,
that child was actually a 25-year-old man who got paid to act.
like a Chris Hansen thing. Like you see, like Joe Biden walks in, takes his mask off, and Chris Hansen's like, "Hey, can you take a seat real quick?"
That kid's name Ron DeSantis. That was Ron DeSantis. Gotcha, Joe Biden.
Oh, I love that.
Fucking got him.
I'm gonna
speaking truth to power here.
I'm gonna pull that clip for Brown Petri Dish.
John Brown Petri Dish, every week or whatever. And then what other shows you got coming on? Website, socials,
when is this gonna come out?
Probably Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I have you can follow me at John Brown Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. Nobody follows me on Twitter, so I'd appreciate that. I have the Pretentious Barrel House in Columbus, Friday the 22nd. High and Dry in Tremont, October 28th. And then I got some November shit, Funny Farm the 20th. That's about it.
Tell Dave Robich I said what's up. I texted him for his birthday and he never texted me back, which I thought was kind of rude. Joe, anything for you?
Yeah, if you're listening, you want to come to a show next weekend. The Mike Polk Jr. show is Friday at Hilarities. Brendan Ayers live at Coda. Wait, did I say Saturday or Friday?
You said Friday.
I'm doing it good. Saturday, Brendan Ayers at Coda, and then Sunday, Winchester. Stepdad's at Galway. If you love Irish music and comedy, and you want to see me play bass,
I might come to that. There's no Browns game next Sunday, so I might come out to that.
It was originally going to be on Thursday, and then we realized that was the Browns game, and we had to move it.
Yeah, I'm pissed about Friday because it's like one of the best nights in Cleveland comedy's had for a while, and me and Brandon are doing a show in Columbus. So,
what's Friday night?
Brendan's show. There's a show with, I believe, like Mayo, Chad, and
I think Friday's the Polk show.
The Polk show. There's just a ton of good. Colin Chamberlain's gonna be a funny stop this weekend. Like, there's just a ton of good shows going on Friday, and I'm not gonna be here. It pisses me off.
Well, at least you're like working to do like that's always like a weird bridge too of you're like, all right, cool, I have a show to go to, and like people like, and that's a weird like Milwaukee thing too. They'll be like, oh, we're gonna go to like this show. And it's like, all right, well, why don't you go to the open mic that's at the same time? And they're like, well, because that's just what we do is we go to this show. And you're like, yeah, but there's like also other like, isn't the point like I get that like the point is to enjoy comedy, a lot of it, but it's like, yeah, but you got like a show, you know?
Right. Yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm not pissed that I have a show. Yeah. It's
no, it's like a weird mind frame. Like it took me like a long time to be like, well, fuck, like I'm missing Water Street to be up in Cleveland doing like when like the Cleveland Comedy Open was happening. You're like, I don't know if I'll be able to make it back for Water Street, and that bums me out. And you're like, well, I'm doing a show at Hilarities and like might make money. Like it's just like it's a weird like.
And that show in Columbus is with Austin Robertson, and I haven't seen him in a long time, so that'll be cool.
I haven't seen him in a long time either.
I fucked up his improv thing. Did you hear about that, Ray?
No.
Oh yeah.
God damn it. So him and his what's the other guy's name?
Jay Canarino.
Yeah, him and Jay come to Cleveland. They do like stand up, and then they do improv games at the end, and they bring all the comics back on stage. And so they explain the rules to this improv game, and I was in the bathroom dropping a poop, and I missed the rules, and then I came out of the bathroom, and I just walk into the showroom, and they're like, there he is, come up here. And so I missed the rules to the improv game, and it was like you pick an item from the audience, and you're like, oh, 99, and somebody says pickles, and you're like, 99 pickles walking to a bar, and then you have to like do a punchline or something. Missed the rules completely. So I thought everyone was just like doing a bit, and you just had to make a joke. So I was just going up there and saying whatever the hell I wanted about the word pickles. They were getting so mad, and I missed the rules. It was like an honest mistake. And Taneo was next to me, and she's like, don't you do improv? It's so fucking.
But that's how improvs are supposed to work. Do you know what? You made the show because like everybody. Here's the thing, because everybody in the crowd probably saw you as the agent of chaos and were like, "This dude's fucking it up. This is hilarious," because he has no idea what's going on. That's what improv is supposed to be, and that's why our improv bit is the best.
I'd like to think that somebody saw me walk into the room late and was able to connect the dots why I didn't know what was going on.
That's so funny. Can I do my dates now, or are we just gonna talk? Are we gonna start another podcast?
Welcome to the John Petri dish. Just use your first name.
Yeah, you can go. You can go ahead and do your dates, Ray.
All right, thanks, John. I'm gonna.
Well, he's the host.
I'm gonna get murdered next Saturday at a show in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. So that'll be fun.
Is it good?
No, it's like at some pizza place, and like this guy's like, "Hey, I got a cabin for everybody to stay at, and you can come up a night early if you want." And I'm like, "I'm not." I'm like, me and the dude I'm driving with, I was like, "We're not going up that night before, right?" And he goes, "There's no way in hell we're spending 2 nights with that guy." So like, but it's like 4 hours away from home, so it's like, all right, having a spot to stay after the show will be nice, but I'm not staying there the night before and then hanging out with you all day. So if I make it back from that, that'll be cool. And then I've got a show that I'm not supposed to tell anybody about in Milwaukee because it's one of those don't tell shows. That's in November, which I'm super psyched about because that seems to be like where a lot of cool people come to. And then I've got a show on the 12th in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So like
home of the Packers.
Home of the Packers. It'll be good. I guess I'm quote unquote headlining it now because whoever was supposed to headline it dropped out. So now I can be Bill Stone and say I'm headlining a showcase.
That happened to me last week at the show I did in Columbus. Both headliners dropped out, and they're like, "Can you do more time?" I'm like, "All right." It was a good show, but
well, and that's like even when the guy booked me, he's like, "Do you have 10 to 12 minutes?" And I was like, "You've seen me do 10 to 12, so that's why you're booking me." Yes, I have 10 to 12. I can also do more time if like people drop out. And he's like a nice guy. Like if he listens, and his name's Mike. I'm not shitting on him. It's just like a very funny like you can do 10 to 12, right? And I was like, yeah, like the reason why you're booking me is you saw me do 10 to 12 very well. Like that's the reason why. And then I was like, yeah, I've got more time if you need it. And then he's just like, yeah, I don't think we will. Like, we'll have enough people to spread it about. And then the last time I talked to him, he's like, so you're for sure still coming to that show. And is it okay if you close it out and do like 15 to 20 now? I was like, yeah, dude, it's fine. like, I just know how this shit works. Like, don't worry about it. But yeah, whoisRayRoberts.com for all that shit.
So can I do my announcements now?
Dude, I hate you so much. You did them and then stopped doing them halfway through.
No, I let the guest go and then I stopped it.
Jesus Christ. Yes, you can finish it up.
I don't got anything.
All right, cool. Thanks, Jay.
All
right. Well,
I got another podcast to do. So.
Who was on your podcast?
Yeah.
Who was on it this time?
You don't know him, Zach Thomas. He's an Akron comic, newer guy. He's trying to start his own podcast. So I told him we'd have him on so he can get a feel for it and see how many listeners he can get and whatnot. So
that's giving back. You know, that's the old Akron way. You take a little, you give a little bit back. You start shit with like outside stuff. You know,
and he did really badly the first like 3 times he did the crowd work show at Funny Stop. And then he like crushed last week. So I kind of wanted to talk to him about that. So I don't know. It'll be
nothing
good.
Better than talking to new comics about comedy. They always know the most about it. And that's me saying that.
Yeah, he's not that kind of guy though. He's like one of those that like wants advice and wants to learn. And yeah.
Gross. That's even worse than knowing that you're the best in the world 3 months in. I would much rather talk to somebody who's like, I know everything about comedy and then like run things by them when they're 3 months in, because that's more entertaining to me than somebody being like, hey, how do I get better at comedy? And then me being like, I don't know, dude. No. You just do it.
Like, my favorite is the dude that's it could be a woman, I suppose. Like the person that's 3 months in, that's so cocky that they're not telling you they're the best, they're giving you advice.
Yeah, they're the best. That's
I've only had it happen twice where it's somebody that's like brand new and they're like, hey man, if I was you, I would do this on this joke. And I would be like, well, when you get a laugh.
Or like the dude that when Mary posted about bombing at LBT and the dude was like, don't worry, you'll get him next time.
Dude. Well, that's and it's like when I went back, like the first time I went back, and we'll be done after this, but like the first time I went back, after I moved here, like that random like night that I hosted like the amateur competition, because I was supposed to come back for like Christmas and then it canceled or whatever. So I came back and just like hosted the like Wednesday before, and nothing against like Cam Vanderhorst, but he had like never seen me, and like he was like the newest dude, like he was coming through that like is just like the apple of the eye at Funny Stop, and he's like sitting, and I'm like just chilling before the show, and he's like, oh, so how long have you been doing it? You ever done it here before? Blah 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 blah. And then I go up and just do like 3 minutes, that because whatever, I'm hosting, and I just like crushed for like just 3 minutes, and I was like, all right, the show's not about me, let's bring it up. And then I get off stage and just like his demeanor completely changed from like he's like, oh, I crush the spot all the time. And then just like I go up to like a completely cold crowd and just like do the best set of the night, basically. And then he's just like, oh, all right. And you're just like,
is that the one I was on?
It might have been. I don't remember.
Like I just it was the best set of the night.
Yeah, you're just like, and it wasn't like, but like you just go up there and you're just like, all right, cool, see it. Like let's talk now. Like
that was the one that was the one that Brian Gallagher won. It was Brian Gallagher and Brandon Petrie came in second, I think.
I don't remember.
It wasn't a finals night. It was like
it was just like a random night. It wasn't a finals. It was just like a competition night. So it was like, but it was just like I just pop up, crush for like just 3 minutes. I was like, all right, cool, I'm done. And then just like get off stage, and he was just like, oh. And I was like, yeah, dude, like that's why I'm like whatever.
Yeah, Cam's the Bill Stone.
But I like him. Like there's nothing wrong with him, but it was just like my first time meeting him, and he's like, oh, the way that it works around here is like, all right, cool, man. Like, and it was like right when I was trying
I know these parts.
Yeah, like it was right when I was first starting to just like not be a complete asshole to people. And like before I would have been like, yeah, dude, I know, that's why I'm here, I'm fucking great at this, blah 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 blah. But I was just like, do you know what, we'll go up, we'll tell one joke and then fucking crush and then get out of here and let these clowns do their thing. And then just kind of let it work. So I don't know.
You were the guy like in like an old Western movie where they hand you a gun and they're like, you know your way around this, and you're like, I know a little bit. And then as soon as shit pops off, you just kill everyone.
I feel that's better. Like, and yes, I like talking shit and like it's a lot of fun, but like that's almost better now, where you're just like, okay, yeah, cool. You're really good at this, and then you go up and then you do really well, and they're like, Oh, I've done that well every once in a while. Like this is just like the normal. Yeah. But all right, John Brown, thank you.
Thanks for having
Joe,
me on.
I'm glad that you're awake. I texted you my girlfriend's tweet about why she's jealous of you, so you should check that out when you get a minute.
Wait, can I read it real quick and that'll be the ending?
Yeah, that'll be the end, and then we'll be done.
Ray just did a "Hey beautiful morning" wake up call to a friend, and I can't even remember a time he's ever wanted to speak to me on the phone.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.
Later.